Week 3 of college football. Man, we are excited. I think we just have to have a full transparency moment for all of our wonderful fans that last week maybe wasn't the best. Maybe wasn't the best week.
know
We're here
what,
to redeem
though?
ourselves.
I somehow did better on the show than I did in real life. I did like all my extra picks.
Bro, you were going through it this weekend with the text we were getting.
It was a mental health exercise for Stefan.
Existential crisis. and we had the debate because I just recently increased the size of my bets. My unit size had increased, if you will. And so we were having the debate because like every time we do that, it's like inevitable that you have a losing week.
Every time.
So I was like, okay, do I stick with this increased size or I'm sticking with it, y'all. I'm going to continue with the plan.
Otherwise, you'll never push through. Yep.
And we're still shooting our shot. I've got 5 picks tonight, just like Mikey. I know Eric's being a little bit more disciplined, but
I am.
Love it.
Yeah, we'll see if you guys can get me on some though. Maybe I'll double up on some here too. So let's dive in though, man. We got lots of picks to get through. Before we do, don't forget we are partnering with RotoViz. Awesome fantasy football website. If you have not been familiar with RotoViz, go check them out. If you're listening to us on RotoViz or otherwise, check us out on YouTube and Instagram. Those are the two kind of main places. Go like, subscribe, and all of those good things. But let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and dive into this. We have a slew of picks, 13 of them, 13 picks to get through tonight. Mike, kick us off with what you got first.
I'm going to go back to one of the few moments of success last week, and we're going to double down, and we're going to take Missouri team total over 37.5 once again. Last week, they played Kansas. We knew Kansas had a terrible defense, specifically in the secondary. We knew Bo Pribula had looked great in week 1, and he looked freaking fantastic once again in week 2. Now they get Louisiana still once again at home. Pribula last week, 30 of 39 for 334 and 4. Call me crazy as bad as Kansas is, even if Louisiana's a little bit better, which are they? I don't know jack crap about Louisiana. Let's call it what it is. As good as Pribula has been, I just don't see a world in which they don't hit 40 again. You know, they hit, I think it was 61 in week 1 and then 42 last week. So just going to keep riding the team while they're hot, especially as much better as they play at home than they do on the road. I missed in our SEC preview show, by the way, how many freaking home games these guys have. I think they are only on the road for 4 games. And they're missing all of the big SEC dogs. So they could be a sneaky little dark horse coming through the SEC here, as good as they've looked the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, we all think that they're overhyped according to the preview show a little bit, but their schedule, if you recall, going back to that show, is so unfairly favorable that maybe they get a lot of momentum and just build up this like amazing season. So
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Pass apparently too, which I didn't see coming.
No, he's looked fantastic and he can run. South Carolina, they get at home. They're on the road at Auburn, but then they get A&M at home and they go on the road to Oklahoma. So there's still some like tough matchups there, but you know, they're missing Georgia, they're missing Texas and all those guys. So I don't know. It could be, I don't know. They could break top 25 and finish number 23 this year.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Starting off strong with the SEC. We're going to get to the big SEC game maybe towards the end of the episode. So as we go through these, we'll tease that and save it for the end. The big matchup of the week is Georgia and Tennessee. Well, we also have like a Clemson, Georgia Tech. There's some good matchups this week.
LSU, Florida.
Yep. Stefan, what you got for us next?
Well, let's just start with the very beginning. A very good place to start. Clemson goes to Georgia Tech. The line here has moved from like 7.5 at open to +3. Now 4.5 point swing away from Clemson. Georgia Tech, we all know what they did against Colorado. I mean, we're dialed into Colorado. So that one was painful to watch as a CU fan. Just watching King just continually run for first downs over and over and over again. How I see this one shaking out, Clemson has really struggled on offense. They were down to Troy for a very, very long time in that game. I'm going to bet this one first half under 24.5. I think both of these teams, like Clemson just wants to not screw this one up. They want to get to halftime, make sure that they are in this game. They can start slowly trying to take over with the size of their defensive line. Hopefully King did not play last week for Georgia Tech, so I think he's going to be healthy. I think he's going to be fine, but they're already concerned about him after taking that beating against CU. I see this one as fewer possessions. I think the clock is going to be moving quite a bit. I don't know how I feel about the score in the total game, because I could see if Clemson is down, them starting to have to fire some shots, and then maybe Cade Klubnik takes off. But Clemson's look very mid on offense. I think Brent Pry and the boys want to run the ball. So we're going to go with Georgia Tech, Clemson under 24.5 in the first half.
Man, I really hope Georgia Tech gives them a game, because right now I think CU is looking down the barrel at being a bad team this season after what I've seen the last two games. So that's why the only reason I'm not taking Georgia to like cover or maybe get the upset is because I actually don't believe in this Colorado team anymore, which is bad. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope Georgia Tech comes out.
But Georgia Tech, that game was not as close as it looked. Georgia Tech was a lot better than CU. CU got very fortunate with those 3 turnovers on the first 3 drives. If Georgia Tech wins the turnover battle, I think Georgia Tech not only covers, they win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, y'all have way more picks than I do, so we're going to keep rolling with your picks back and forth before I get into any of mine. Mike, why don't you hit us with the next one?
Yeah, I'm going to do another double down from last week, and this is a revenge play. We're going to go Duke on the money line at Tulane, minus 112. Did you guys get to watch that game much last week?
I was at the airport. I did not.
Steve, tell me if you disagree. At least in the first half, I didn't watch the second half. Duke was the better team on the field. Am I wrong?
I don't know in the first half, but the second half,
it
wasn't even close.
I'll say that Duke beat them on the scoreboard all across the board, right? 438 yards of offense. They were better on third down. They had fewer punts, fewer penalties. What sucked was 5 turnovers. 4 of them were fumbles. Where I'm playing this, fumbles don't really travel from game to game like picks often do. I think they cleaned this one up, and I really don't think Tulane is as big of an opponent here as Illinois was last week. And you got Darian Mensah going home for a revenge game. I expect him to really come out and really be his best self. And I think Duke's a little pissed after last week. I thought they looked fantastic offensively. Again, first half, I missed the second half. This Tulane team, they just beat South Alabama by a whole 2 points and gave up 31 points. So I don't know. Maybe it was a bit of a look ahead spot, but I really am expecting Duke to have a big bounce back here. So money line minus 112.
The private school Tulane Duke battle is coming at us. Yeah, I love Tulane this year, but they did not show up like I thought they would last week. Obviously, I didn't win that pick, so should be a fun game to watch. Stefan, why don't you hit us with what's next?
Yeah, I like the I'm going to go to the Midwest here. Purdue hosts USC. This week, you could just say it's like one of my favorites, because that's what my card looks like other than a couple of unders, because I'm loving a lot of favorites this week. And so I had to pick my favorite ones, and USC minus 20.5 traveling to Purdue. I love it. People going into the season, we thought Purdue was going to be one of the worst college football Power 4 teams. They are 2-0. They've been doing fine, but they haven't played anyone yet. USC has looked dominant. Jaden Maeva has 707 yards passing, 6 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. He has not been sacked yet this year. He's completing like close to 74% of his passes. I think he carves up this Purdue defense. I think this one gets pretty ugly pretty quick. I think USC gets out to a very early start and then continues to build off of it. I like USC to win this by over 3 touchdowns. A lot of times you look at these numbers going into a week in college football and you're like, dang, 21.5 or 20.5. That's a big number. And then you have to remember, oh, wait, Minnesota just won 66-0 last week. There are no big numbers. Like, this is not the NFL. We're playing a whole different game, especially from the betting angle. So, yeah, minus 20.5, USC, lay them.
I love it. Yeah, go for it, Mike.
I would say I was on this as well and just took it off the card right before the show. So I'm in full support here.
I'm a big believer. We said this before the show. I'm a big believer that college football is better when USC is good and is a powerhouse. I like having some more West Coast power going. So I absolutely Absolutely love it. Want to see USC keep rolling.
And I was down on that team too to start the year, and they've surprised me so far. I mean, they haven't played anyone, but I think they continue to not be playing anyone this week.
Well, we'll stay in California, at least with the California team here. Y'all know I love some Mountain West picks, so I'm going to take New Mexico. It's where I live in Albuquerque, plus 15.5. I think you can get to 16 on this some places at UCLA. UCLA is looking down, and this is not a quality football program. On the other hand, Jason Eck, the coach of the New Mexico Lobos, was within 10 points of Michigan going into the fourth quarter 2 weeks ago. Beat up on Idaho State. Took them a little bit last week, but they did it. And this is the same Jason Eck who was coaching Idaho that took Stefan's Oregon Ducks to the brink last year. So this dude essentially has assembled an FCS powerhouse roster. Like, he went out and got the best player of every FCS team and brought them to New Mexico. And this is a different looking New Mexico team than what we had last year. Plus 15.5. I think they totally cover this number. They at least put a good scare into UCLA, and 15, 16 points is just too much for me.
I also love the over in this one. I think this shoots out. So I think they both score quite a few points. Both rank in like the hundreds in the worst defenses. I like this in a game where there's going to be a lot of points. I think New Mexico can keep it within that huge number.
Love it. Hoping for that one for the local Lobos fans. All right. Let's get back to Mike. What you got for us? Oh, little backyard brawl. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, baby. Backyard brawl going Pitt minus 6.5 versus West Virginia. I did take it down from 7.5, so it's sitting at minus 129. This game was at 1.5 preseason and has moved quite heavily in the last week and a half.
I got it at 3.5 on Sunday when it opened again.
3.5 on Sunday?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
I was very happy.
West Virginia just losing to Ohio. I don't know, man. You just don't get good vibes about this West Virginia team right now. And then they lose Jaheim White, who is like the core of how they score points. And I struggle seeing how West Virginia can find a way to put up enough points to beat Pitt. Eli Holstein, we were big on him coming into the season. He's looked great so far. And even defensively, Kyle Lewis, their middle linebacker, one of the best middle linebackers in the country. I just think they're going to struggle to run the ball, and there's a 0% chance West Virginia is set up to throw the ball to score enough points to keep up here. So covering a touchdown, I really like Pitt. I think this could work its way to 10 in a world. But yeah, 6.5. Yeah, I'm all over it.
So I have this workout app now that I use, and I just kind of want to I want them to be a sponsor of the show because it's called Ladder. And let's ladder the hell out of this one. I want it at 13.5. I want it at 16.5. This is the backyard brawl. So yeah, West Virginia is going to get up for this game, but so is Pitt. And Pitt is going to want to put it on them. I love Pitt to just crush right here for all the reasons you said. I like Rich Rodriguez. I think it's going to work in the long term for West Virginia. He didn't bring in a bunch of players that he knew. He brought in some from Jack State, but not a bunch. It wasn't like some of the situations you see in other places. He is building a new roster. He's starting over from zero. It's going to take time. Pitt is going to wallop them. I have them as part of a money line parlay. Pitt to win. I do think it gets out of control though, but backyard brawl, crazy things happen, but I think the craziness probably happens going the blowout
the opposite direction
more than a surprise victory for West Virginia.
Yeah, they were 2 of 13 on third down, and they only had the ball for a total of 19 minutes. It's the exact opposite of what this offense wants to do in terms of time of possession.
Yeah.
Man, these rivalry games though, they get tricky, but I'm with you all on that. I will be taking that. I'll be taking Pitt at a touchdown as well in my own personal betting.
And the only reason I didn't join you on this show is because I have it better in real life. And so I was like, well, I don't want to be on the hook for a touchdown if I've already got it at 3.5. So
it's fair.
Awesome. All right. Talked about the backyard brawl. We are moving on to I'm gonna hit you with another Mountain West pick, and then we'll jump to Stefan. I think it's going to work out with the order. All right, Mountain West football, Air Force at Utah State. We talked about this Air Force team is going to be much improved this year. Troy Calhoun does not sit idly by and have 2 bad seasons in a row. I also always talk about Bronco Mendenhall and him being one of my favorite coaches. So let's go ahead and take the over. I'm going to keep going back to a Utah State over until it misses, y'all. I got 2 weeks in a row. We're going back. Yeah, we're going back to the well, man. Like you keep giving me Utah State overs floating around 50. I'm going to take them. They put up 22 against Texas A&M, and Air Force has only played 1 game. It was against Bucknell. So, take that with a grain of salt, but they scored 49. So I think Air Force is coming out. They got 2 quarterbacks. They got a quarterback who can run and one who can pass. So, they're playing a 2 quarterback system. It's a fun team to watch. I think this goes over the total again, back to Bryson Barnes at Utah State. What I've watched has been really fun. And I just see this hitting the over again. I'm going to keep going back to the well until it misses.
You've made us all Utah State fans.
I know. We're
like every week. Like, well, how's them doing? How the Aggies doing? Let's check it out.
How's Utah State? All right, I will stop with the Mountain West. Stefan, why don't you take it away with your next pick?
Yeah, you just mentioned Texas A&M. That's a huge game. Texas A&M at Notre Dame. Notre Dame could start out the year 0-2. Like, Texas A&M is a good team. They are going to be, Notre Dame is a touchdown favorite right now at home. So, expecting that Marcel Reed and company are going to have to go in there and put up a really strong effort to come out with a win. But I think they can do it. But you know what I think even more? The way both of these teams want to do it is the same way we talked about Notre Dame before, and we've talked about some of these other big games. They want to play it slow early. I think both teams really are about establishing the run, as unfun as that can be at times. I don't think Carr is ready to unleash everything in his first huge home game. I don't think Marcel Reed is who you want to be the focal point of that offense. I think they're going to rely on Ruben Owens and company, one of the best backfields in the country. I see a clock in the first half that's tick, 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 ticking away. We're going to go under 24.5 in the first half in Texas A&M at Notre Dame.
I like that play. I like that play a lot.
Man, that's gonna be a fun game, man. The revenge game is gonna be a fun one to watch. I think in the preview, I have this as a win for Texas A&M. I don't know if I feel as strongly about that today, so I'm not gonna bet it. But I think in the season preview say I think they go and get revenge. So I'm hoping that holds up there. So all right, let's go. You both have picks on. Why don't you all talk about? How are we gonna do this? Let's see. Stefan, talk about your Oregon Ducks, and then Mike can talk about his little teaser he's got going for them.
The Oregon Ducks are in murder bot road, like mode. Like, they are not messing around. They are out to put teams away, put them away quickly, and enjoy a fourth quarter where you're up by 42 points. I don't think they're going to drop the hammer like they did against Gundy. The motivational angle may not be there. However, Northwestern does not have near the talent necessary to even come remotely close to hanging with these Ducks. I like playing this any which way. I like playing it minus 27.5 for the full game. I like it minus 15.5. I like taking the Ducks team total over. But how I'm going to play it for the show, we're going to take the Ducks in the first quarter, minus 6.5. Even if Northwestern starts with the ball, they're not scoring. Like, this Ducks team doesn't care. The Ducks also, if they start with the Ducks are going to have up to 3 possessions in this first quarter, so they're going to have their opportunities. Yes, please.
Yeah, it might be 21-0 at the end of this first quarter.
I know. Yeah. If you could ladder first quarters, I mean, let's do it.
My boy Joel Klatt, who is my most, I think Joel Klatt's one of the smartest college football people. I'm biased. He went to CU. I get it. However, Joel Klatt is one of my favorite college football people. And on his podcast, he talked about how this Oregon team is built like they've never been before. And they remind him of last year's Ohio State and the year before that's Michigan team. And they're just kind of like destined for championship mode. So I hope.
And Dante Moore is legit. Like, he is legit a good quarterback. Our big problem is with the wide receiver injury that took place in the offseason. We really only have freshmen DeCorian Moore that we can really count on. We need Gary Bryant Jr. to step up. We have guys like Dickey, who was a former 5-star recruit. So this team does have talent. It just hasn't been actualized. So if that wide receiver room can develop, we've seen how deep they are at running back. It's going to be ugly for a lot of teams. I can't wait for that Penn State game coming up soon.
Yep. Mike, what do you got with Oregon? You got them in a teaser.
Yeah, I just teased the team total down to 32.5. I think they hit 40 plus. I just wanted a really safe play here. They're averaging just shy of 600 yards a game. And, both of the first games they started at home. So they're on the road for the first time. Went back, looked last year. They were only one point worse on the road than they were at home. So Lanny's going to have them coached up. They're clicking on all cylinders. And
I almost like that this is their first road game, because it gives them something to prep for beyond just Northwestern, because that's the kind of culture he's trying to build. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. So that's all I've got on Oregon. Team total over 32.5.
Hey, I think again, that could hit in the first half of this game. So I think that's great.
Totally. I can go ahead and hit the second leg of my teaser while we're here.
Yeah, hit it. Yep.
I'm going to take Ohio State team total over 36.5. They are playing Ohio this week. We just talked about had the big win against those people up top, West Virginia. There it is. Man, Ohio State, also another team that is kind of clicking on all cylinders. There was the slower game against Texas, a much better defense, and they still were the better team on both sides of the ball that entire game. They've put up over 650 yards of offense and won 70-0 against Grambling State last weekend. They're finishing drives well. They've scored 100% in the red zone. Every time they get down there, they're putting it away. That's a great combination for and over here. So they're averaging 15.2 points per game against the MAC right now. So 36.5 feels quite simple for that stat there. So yeah, it's Ohio State team total over 36.5 with Oregon team total over 32.5. Get it at plus 102.
That is great. All right, let's talk about the game. As Mike is our resident Georgia fan, we all have some kind of play on this Georgia game. So let's talk about it. I'm just going to go ahead and take Georgia minus 3.5 at Tennessee. Stephon reminded me how hyped I was on Georgia before the year. And then y'all gave me some good info on why Georgia's going to do this. You also just kind of always take that 3.5 number, man. It's meant to scare you away. It's meant to scare you away, but you should take it.
Yeah,
you got to take it. I'll be doing it in the NFL. I got a couple teams in the NFL this week I'll be doing this with as well. I'm going to take that 3.5. I'll take Georgia. Mike, tell me why again. Heupel hasn't won by or hasn't come close to this number or something like that. It was something very convincing.
Yeah, so I'm on in leg of a teaser here. I'm taking Tennessee team total under 27.5. Heupel has never scored more than 17 points against Kirby Smart.
Oh, yeah, that's not gonna cut it.
No, not even close. Not even close. Yeah, I mean, for me, like this Tennessee team, historically, they're really good at home, except for against Georgia. Joey Aguilar, I don't know, man. I'm not buying in. I know he's streaky. He's up and down. Kirby Smart likes to play a lot of man coverage against Tennessee. And I think once these corners lock down these receivers, Joey Aguilar is going to have to come out with one of his best games. Streaks are broken every year. They might get 20 this year. They're not going to get 28 this year. So under 27.5 for me.
Hey, if they get 20, as long as Georgia gets 24, I'm fine with that result myself. So
yeah,
all right. Mike, why don't you just finish that parlay off for us? Well, we'll put stuff on the screen. I know we're talking a lot of different games and stuff, but why don't you finish that off for us? What you're teasing with that Tennessee under?
Yeah, so going Tennessee under 27.5, and then I'm teasing that with Miami minus 9.5 versus South Florida, getting it at minus 112. What South Florida did against Florida last year made me like the happiest fan of college football of all time. It was just so satisfying watching that happen. But I mean, Florida in a lot of ways still should have won this game. Had there not been the big spitting incident, they probably would have won this game. And I think that this game took every ounce of energy out of South Florida to pull this off. Being in a position to do this 2 weeks back to back, I just don't see it happening. Don't get me wrong, man. Byron Brown has looked fantastic to start the season, But you look at what this Miami team did against Notre Dame, they just absolutely dominated Notre Dame in the trenches. And that Notre Dame team is supposed to be one of the best teams in the trenches in the country. You compare that to what South Florida has in the trenches, and I expect Miami to just handle this one very easily. I think they only blitzed DJ Lagley last week like 3 times. That's the only chance you have at disrupting Carson Beck. When he can just sit back in the pocket, he's going to pick you apart. So I don't see a recipe for how South Florida pulls off 2 close wins 2 weeks in a row. I think they cover the 17.5, but again, just looking for easy plays.
I think you mean major upsets 3 weeks in a row, man. They destroyed Boise, which I was all over, and then they go to Florida. So I'm just like, I think there's going to be a lot of people putting money on USF. I like it because I think that falls apart at some point. I just think there's going to be a lot of money people putting money on USF because they're like, oh, world beaters or whatever. Like, I think that can only go so far. So
yeah, don't get me wrong, man. I still, as of right now, like they're easily my pick for group of 5 team to get in.
Yeah.
But
and they still can. If they lose this, they can still get there.
Easy.
You know who loves playing the villain too is Miami. Like Miami. Also, University of South Florida, I'm pretty sure is north of Miami. Like, let's go.
Oh, it's a party school.
So geographically, it's just upsetting. I also did have a play on Georgia.
We're coming back. We're coming back to Georgia. Hit us with it. You have a little parlay for us.
Yeah. So I mentioned the Pitt part of it. We're taking Pitt on the money line, and we're parlaying it with Georgia on the money line. But I think it's funny. You get Tennessee plus 175 on the money line. I would rather play Georgia minus 9.5 at plus 175. I like Georgia to take care of business here. Tennessee is without their 2 starting corners. I don't really care that Georgia has not been throwing the ball deep and that like their ADOT for their team is like 2.4 or something like that. They haven't needed to. It's Austin Peay. No need to open it up against them. I think we see Zachariah Branch get cut loose. I think the receivers in general will have a nice day, but I do expect Branch to be a focal point of the vertical game, even on a bubble screen. When you're down corners and you get them on the edge like that with that speed, if you miss a tackle, he's gone. So I think Georgia plays it smart, goes in, gets a really solid win, nice, 24-10 type win. Nothing crazy on offense, but just puts this game away. I don't think it's going to be. I think we're going to be really excited, and then about halftime, we're going to see the writing on the wall, and this one's going to be all she wrote.
Yeah,
Zachariah Branch to this point has not been very involved. I think he's had like 5 touches on the year. I fully expect them to pull some more tricks out of the bag, getting him involved for this game. It feels like they've been kind of keeping some things tucked away, just getting through the first 2 games, and then really letting it out this game.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd be excited with a comfortable win after last week, man. Give me some just comfortable money this week. So
these all are going to hit. They all feel so right.
Yeah, all of these are perfect. Nothing could possibly go wrong. Awesome. Let's run it down. You made it to the part of the show where we run things down. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, over on Instagram. Also, go check out RotoViz, who we're partnering with over there. If you're not listening to us there already. We're going to go ahead and run this down, though, for the week. We'll be back at you with more NFL action and all of that fun stuff here.
Soccer. Don't be forgetting soccer.
Yeah, soccer's back. We were on an international break last week, so we are back with soccer this week for sure. All right, Mike, run us down.
Yeah, give me Missouri team total over 37.5. Give me Duke on the money line at Tulane. Pitt minus 6.5 versus West Virginia, minus 129 on that one. And then give me 2 teasers. The first being Tennessee team total under 27.5 with Miami minus 9.5 versus South Florida at minus 112. And then the Oregon team total over 32.5 with the Ohio State team total over 36.5. Get that one at plus 102.
All right, I'll take the Georgia Bulldogs minus 3.5 at Tennessee. A couple Mountain West picks for you. Utah State and Air Force over 50.5. New Mexico to cover 50.5 at UCLA. Stefan, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Georgia and Pitt both on the money line. You get that at plus 113 as a money line parlay. I'm going to take USC minus 20.5 traveling to Purdue. We're going to take Oregon to cover minus 6.5 in the first quarter. And then in Clemson and Georgia Tech, we're taking first half under 24.5 in Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. We're also taking the first half under 24.5.
And I know everyone's wondering, where's the Western Kentucky pick? And the answer is they are on a bye this week. So no Maverick MacGyver pick next week. I will be back, and I will be heavy on Western Kentucky against Nevada next week. I promise. All right, that's it.
I love that.
That's how we're going to make money. We will see y'all later.